We are in the second part of Super Pre-Starter Diet topic. In the last video, I talked about the importance of early nutrition. How long should we feed our broiler chicks with Super Pre-Starter Diet? And in this video, I'm gonna touch a little bit on the properties of Super Pre-Starter Diet. So the first thing you need to pay close attention to when you are formulating a Super Pre-Starter Diet is not to formulate your diet based on least cost feed formulation. This is not the place to be stingy and, formulate a least cost diet. During the first phase of the life, we need to provide a nutritious, high quality feed. So, you might be wondering, okay, if I'm not going to use least cost feed formulation method, will my diet be expensive? At the first glance, it may look pricey, but in the long run, you will see it was not pricey. In fact, investing in early nutrition will pay you down the road, will pay good dividends at the end. I really encourage the poultry industry staff, support team, service team, farmers, nutritionists, veterinarians, all the people who are involved in the poultry industry. I would encourage you to do a partial budget analysis before implementing any nutritional management or any other management in the industry. In the partial budget analysis, we need to actually calculate the cost of implementing that strategy. For example, feeding a Super Pre-Starter Diet. And then we need to calculate the outcomes. We need to calculate the benefits and the profit of that nutritional management. And at the end of the day, we need to calculate the net profit to see if our strategy was really profitable or not. So, at the end of the day, we really need to calculate. If you are, sensitive to the cost, that's okay. But instead of calculating the cost per unit of feed, let's say per kilogram of feed, please calculate the cost per kilogram of production. And then you can calculate the profit coming out of it. And then you can decide if your management was really pricey or not. it looks like pricey in the beginning. So the second important strategy we need to implement is to use digestible nutrients to formulate our super pre-starter diet. If you are using total requirements, that's fine, but please consider using digestible nutrients. It can make difference. So here in this table, I can maximize it later on. I know maybe it's not legible from here, but it's from RAS 708 broiler guide, and you can see for each phase, for example, starter, grower, finisher 1, finisher 2, we do have two kinds of requirements: total requirements and digestible requirements for amino acids. So when you are balancing your amino acids profile, it's better to use digestible column here instead of total requirement. But please make sure, if you are going to use digestible nutrient requirements, I mean digestible amino acids requirements, you will need to calculate digestible amino acids of your feed ingredients. And you cannot use total amino acids of your ingredients. And from the requirement side, take digestible amino acids requirement. It's not gonna work. If you are going to use digestible amino acids requirements, you need to consider the digestibility coefficients of amino acids in your feed ingredients and calculate really the digestible amino acids coming from your ingredients and use those values as your ingredients input. It is one of the most important secrets in the poultry nutrition. All right. Continuing on, I'm gonna talk a little bit about feed ingredients. If you are using super pre-starter diet, you really need to use high quality and high digestible ingredients. For example, you can use animal plasma, soy protein concentrate, wheat gluten. So I just saw soybean here, and it reminds me to tell you something. Why we are not going to use soybean meal? Because soybean meal has some anti-nutritional factors. For example, antitrypsin, which can block the trypsin. Trypsin is an enzyme in the digestive system. And by that, it can reduce the protein digestibility. Yes, of course, heat treatment of soybean meal can reduce, those anti-nutritional factors. But again, we are dealing with young chicks, and we do not want to have any, if you will, if possible, any anti-nutritional factors in a super pre-starter diet. So that's why we are going to use soy protein concentrate. It means that we are going to use purified protein sources. Animal plasma actually is used usually in pet foods, especially cat foods. It makes it really palatable and delicious for the, cat, dog. And it has good water holding capacity, excellent emulsifying properties, and good gel strength when it's heated over the 80 degrees centigrade. For example, during the, plating or crumbling. So it means that if you use any natural emulsifying stuff, you're gonna have a better fat digestion, because as you know, in order for fat to be digested and absorbed, we need micelles to be formed in the intestine, and then through that structures fatty acids can be absorbed and digested and then absorbed. So in addition, animal plasma also have some functional properties. That's why we call it a functional protein ingredient. It means that it's not only for protein structure, but also it can have some functions to help digestibility and to help with absorption of nutrients in the gut. And by that, it can improve growth performance. So the other thing I have mentioned here is about fat. In a super pre-starter diet, we need to use unsaturated fat because digestion and absorption of unsaturated fats in an immature digestive system is easier than those for saturated fatty acids. And I'll talk about this in the later slides as well. So here you can see a broiler starter diet. Please pay attention. This is not a super pre-starter diet. It's just a starter diet. I wrote this diet for a feed mill several years ago, and they got benefit out of it. I'm gonna just explain some key factors here and leave the rest of discussion for the next episode. So, as you can see here, we do have energy ingredients, for example, corn and soybean oil. We do have protein ingredients, soybean meal. So, if you are going to convert this starter diet to a super pre-starter diet, you need to substitute soybean meal by soy protein concentrate or animal plasma or wheat gluten or any purified protein source. The next thing you can see here is about feed additives. As you can see, I have used synthetic amino acids like L-lysine hydrochloride, DL-methionine, and threonine. It's really important to use threonine in these kinds of diets. Then I have used salt and sodium bicarbonate as a source of sodium and chloride. But if you are going to convert this diet to a super pre-starter diet, you need to substitute sodium bicarbonate by sodium formate. Another secret among nutritionists. So, because we want to have lower pH in super pre-starter diets, that's why we are adding organic acids to these kinds of diets as well. So, if you use sodium bicarbonate, you are going to neutralize that acid property in the diet. That's why please do not use sodium bicarbonate in super pre-starter diets. Instead, use sodium formate. By using sodium formate, you are providing sodium source without any, chloride contamination. And also, that formate will be converted to formic acid in the gut, and it has acid property, and which is good in a super pre-starter diet. The other feed additives you can see here I have used is some additives to supply calcium and phosphorus. So I have used dicalcium phosphate and limestone, or calcium carbonate. You can use the same in a pre-starter diet. The next thing you can see, I have used a commercial multi-enzyme. It is really crucial to use multi-enzymes in a super pre-starter diet and also in a starter diet. Why? Because we are going to help the bird to digest the nutrients, to digest protein, phosphorus, fat, carbohydrates. In these kinds of multi-enzymes, we do have several enzymes, to digest those nutrients. And I will talk about that in the next episode. I have used prebiotic. I would encourage you to use probiotic and prebiotic. I have used carnitine to help with fat metabolism. I will talk about that later on. I have used toxin binder to absorb any possible toxins in the feed. And at the end, I have used vitamin premix and mineral premix. So, I'm giving you a clue. If you are going to, this is an excellent starter diet. I have seen the outcome of it. I'm not going to, recommend using this diet in your farm because, different situations can affect, nutrient requirements like climate, temperature, maternal age, and many, many factors. But it was a good starter diet for a situation that I used back in the day. The point is that I'm going to give you some clues to convert this starter diet to a super pre-starter diet. First, pay attention to protein source, as I discussed. Second, pay attention to the feed additives. I have touched a little bit on that, and I'm going to continue this in the next episode. As always, please do not forget to like the video so other people can get benefit out of it. They can be exposed to this video if they are interested. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this. And of course, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer that. Please let me know down there in the comments. Take care.